Okay, the second video in this series of the first 50-hour oil and filter change is a video on how to change the transmission oil. And again, this tractor is a L3400. It's a 2011 Kubota. It's four-wheel drive and it's hydrostatic transmission. So I already changed the engine oil. And by the way, if you watch that first video on changing the engine oil and the filter, I ended up putting another half a quart of 15W40 in there, and that topped it off. So it actually took 6.5 quarts total in that of engine oil. So the second video is how to change the transmission oil and two filters. And the discrepancies that I came up with this one, there weren't any really on the volume of oil going in. The maintenance chart shows 7.3 gallons and the dealer shows 7.5, so it's between 7 and 8 gallons. One thing the manual states, you should use the Super UDT transmission hydraulic fluid, and when I called the dealer, he said the regular old UDT is just fine, so that's what I bought. I have two 5s here. I'm going to need between 7 and 8 gallons. And the other discrepancy on the oil filter, if you look in the manual on the L3400, it only lists one filter. It mentions it as singular, as one filter. And when I called to order all these parts, the dealer told me there's two filters. So I looked under the tractor, sure enough there's two filters. And the two filters that are going on here, there's a bigger one and a smaller one, so you can't really mess up putting them on. The bigger one it's an HH3A0-82623. And the smaller filter is the HHK70-14070. So those are the two filters. And then the other discrepancy, the manual mentions two drain plugs on this tractor. And I'm going to go show you in a minute underneath the tractor the drain plugs. But the day that I bought the tractor, I wrote some notes down what the mechanic told me, and he says the transmission has 3 drain plugs. So I'm gonna look under the tractor right now, and I'll show you the 2 main plugs that the manual lists. But I think I know where. I couldn't find the other one at first, but I think there may be even 2 more, and I'll show you. Let me get the light under here. Okay, I'm looking aft underneath the tractor, and you can see the 2 drain plugs. There's one here, and then there's one right there. Now, the only thing I could think of is the other drain plug that the dealer was talking about was on this, and I'm not sure what this is called. It's the axle gears, I guess, the drive gears. And there's one at the lowest spot on the inboard side right here, and over here there's another one there. So I'm gonna loosen those, and there's probably some fluid that's gonna come out of there. So those are actually 4 drain plugs. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up, and I'll show you the filters. Here's the big filter. It's on the right or starboard side of the tractor. And then here's a little one on the port or left side right here. So there's a big one and a small one. So I'm going to go ahead and get my drain pans, and I've got a 5-gallon bucket and a 5-gallon drain pan that I'm going to put under here. I'm going to warm the tractor up first, and I'll start the camera back up when I'm ready to pull these drain plugs, okay? Okay, I'm set up underneath the tractor, and I'm ready to pull the 2 main drain plugs. The first one being right here, and the second one is right here. I already broke them loose with the wrench, or with the socket. It was a 24mm socket. And this oil pan's 5 gallons and this one's almost 3, so I'm going to keep this plug ready in case I need to put it back in there. Actually, I think I'll do this other one first. No, I'm going to do this one. I just want to make sure I have enough volume here. Got my rag ready. Now I warmed the tractor up. I don't really know if warming this up without running it warms up the fluid, but we'll see. I have a little thermometer thing here. We'll see. I don't know if you have to be driving around to really warm this fluid up. Looks clean, doesn't it? Looks real clean. But this is what they say you gotta do. It's probably about 2.5 gallons so far. It's whistling coming out of there. I'm probably gonna have to get ready and put this plug back in once it gets to a certain level. There's supposed to be about 7.5 gallons of fluid in here, but I don't know how much we're gonna put in. It's starting to get toward the top of my pan here. Oh, it's starting to slow down. That's good. I don't know if that's an airlock in there because I don't have the fill tube opened. So I'm going to put this cap on because I'm probably, well, the camera can pick it up. I'm probably about 2 inches from the top. So that's good. That worked out nice. So this is probably 5 gallons. This is probably close to 5 gallons in this pan. So I'm going to stop the camera. I'll put this plug in here and then I'm going to pull that plug, see what we get out of that one, okay? Okay, what I did was I took this drain pan and poured it into a 5-gallon bucket, and there was probably about 4.5 gallons that came out of there. So now we're safe because this will hold 5 gallons. Now we're safe removing this other plug, and I'll remove this plug too and let this drain. This is just the plug I'm taking off now is lower, so we'll get some more fluid out of there. Okay, my memory card ran out just as I was about to pull this back plug here, so I'll do that now. Got a rag ready. So there's that one, and I'm going to keep this plug so I put it back in the same spot, and then I'm going to pull this plug here. It's just hand tight. There's my phone. See, there's some more that come out of there. So I'm going to let that drain. I'll stop the camera now and I'll start it back up, and I'll remove those two on the gear drive back there, those lowest ones. Okay? Okay, I'm ready to take this drain, what I think is a drain plug right here off the inboard edge of the drive gears. So I already broke it loose. I'm just going to take it off by hand here. See what comes out of here. Well, I'm going to put my gloves on. One glove anyway. I put the other two main fills on. I let them drain, those two main drain plugs. So I'm going to take this one, make sure I get the washer with it. Oh. Got to keep my hand here or it's going to be too much. I didn't realize it was going to come out that fast. By the way, this fluid, I don't think warming a tractor up did much. It was 60 degrees. There's a lot coming out of there. So that probably is the lowest spot. And there's actually one more on the other side, so that's 4 drain plugs. So I'll stop the camera if I can get my hand to it, and there it goes. And I'll start it back up when I take the other plug out, okay? Okay, I'm ready to take the other drain plug off on the left side of the tractor. Gotta get my arm under here. I already broke it loose. So I'm gonna have to hold my hand here while to probably divert it, because it's really gonna come out strong if it was anything like that last one. Yep. So I'll let this one drain. There's quite a bit of oil here. This accounts for the other, you know, I only took about 4.5–5 gallons out of these main drains. And I'll imagine there's got to be another couple gallons coming out of here. But we'll measure it. I'll put it on I'll collect it all and then put it in buckets, and we'll see how much comes out. And I still have to pull the filters. So I'm going to let this drain. I'll put the plugs back in, and then I'll pull the 2 filters, okay? Okay, I have all the drain plugs. There's 4 drain plugs. I have those all in and tightened up. And by the way, the back 2 drain plugs near the gears, that was a 14mm wrench I used to take those 2 off, and so those are back on and tightened up. Now the next step is to take this filter off the port or left side of the tractor. I already broke it loose with a wrench here, and I'm gonna take it off and let this drain out. See how much comes out of there. So I'll let this drain, and I'll put the new one on. And it says in the book, you know, it only mentions 1 filter. But there's 2. There's one on both sides. And I would imagine one is for the return, and one is you know, from the pump. So I'm gonna stop the camera, and I'm gonna go ahead and let this drain, and then put the other one on, okay? Okay, put the filter back on. What I meant to say in that last clip is there are two filters for the transmission oil here, and one is probably a return and one is a suction. That's what I meant to say. This is the smaller of the 2, and it's on the left or port side. And I went ahead and put that on there, and the manual recommends screwing it on here until the rubber gasket touches, and then take a wrench and go 1 more revolution with it. And I was able to use my hand and turn it until I got 1 more spin on it. So this one's done. I'll just wipe this here, and then we'll go to the other side, okay? Okay, we're on the right side of the tractor, the starboard side. That way is forward. That way there. And I just broke loose this filter on this side, and this little strap that I have, the strap wrench, I actually broke it trying to loosen this. And so I took this wrench here, a bigger one. I should have been using this one from the start, but I couldn't find it at first. So when that other one broke, I had to get that one out. So now I'm ready to loosen this one and let this drain. And this is the bigger of the 2 filters. A little bit more coming out there. So I'll let this drain, and then I'll put the other filter on, okay? Okay, I wanted to show you something real quick. This is the filter I took off. and you see this area, this ring on the inside? I thought that was rubber, and I saw some debris on it. So I set it aside, and then I got the new one out here, and I realized it was a magnet. This inner piece right here, that's a magnet. So that's what that is. That's little pieces of metal that are connected to that. So that's pretty cool. A little magnet inside there to catch the shavings and stuff. So here's the new one, and I'm going to use this oil. It looks clean, so I'm going to put that right on this rubber ring here, and I'll put this on. And it does say right on here, suction filter. So I'm going to put it on, and I guess I'm going to do the same thing as before. It says touch it, so right there, and then I'm going to go one more revolution. So I'll go ahead and tighten that one up, and then we'll collect all the oil and see how much we have, okay? Okay, I just put that filter on, and I was only able to get about 3/4 of a turn. It says put a wrench on it, but I can get a pretty good grip on it with my hands here, and 3/4 of a turn is all I can get on there. So I'm going to leave it at that, because I know that a lot of people say you're not supposed to put them on too tight, or that rubber will actually stick right to the metal surface. So I'll leave it there, and when I start it up, I'll just check for leaks under these. Okay? Okay, all the filters are in, and all the drain plugs are in for the transmission oil. And I've got all the drain oil here on the bench, and I measured it with this big measuring cup here. There's 2 gallons here, and there's 4 gallons in the 5-gallon bucket here, and then there's another quart here. So that's 6.25 gallons that came out of there. 6 gallons in a quart. And I didn't strain it with that paint strainer to see the metal shavings, because there's so much here, but I'm sure there's a little bit. I don't really see anything different than that engine oil, so there's not a lot. There's not a lot in there, and that filter, that magnet on that filter picked up some metal shavings. So I'm going to take you in here now and show you how I'm filling this up. I have a funnel set up here that's going to the transmission fluid oil fill down there, and I went to the hardware store and I got a big funnel, and I knew I was going to need some kind of line like this because it's too hard to I thought it would have been just harder to try to fill it down there, leaning over the tractor and everything. So I have this funnel here, and I just zip tied it to the ROPS, and I have a little 1/4 inch line here so it doesn't fall. And I have this rubber hose here, and it actually went inside. I tried to get a hose to fit the outside, but I didn't see anything, and it might have been a little bit too big for the fill tube anyway. So I ended up putting it inside there, and it was a real tight fit. And I've already put about 4 gallons in, and I haven't had one drip come out of there. And it's working real nice. It's not overfilling or anything, and it's allowing air to escape through here. So it's working out good. So I probably put about 4 gallons in so far. And I'm going to put this last little bit in, and then we're going to check the sight tube here. This right here, it's got to be within that range. So what the manual says is put enough hydraulic oil in there until you can see it in that window, and I can't see it yet. There's probably about 4 gallons in here. So I'm going to put some more in. When you see it in that window, start the tractor up, run it a little bit, and then shut her down and check it again. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll just show you. I'll show you how I put this oil in here. I had to lift this bucket up and pour it in probably about 4 or 5 times so far, and I haven't really spilled any or anything, so it's working out well. The funnel will get full, and then you'll have to stop. It's probably about 60 degrees in here, so it's flowing okay. And I don't know if I can get a shot of the fill tube, but it's going down in there. It's not overflowing or anything. So this is probably about the last gallon or 1.5 gallons of oil that I'm putting in here. So it's working nice with this funnel and hose setup. I could do it on the outside of the tractor here. Let that go down a little bit. So there's 6 1/4 gallons that came out of it, and I mean by rights that's what should go back in it. So, but we'll see. Didn't work out that way exactly with the engine oil, but so there's a little bit more in here. I'll continue to fill this, and I'll stop the camera and I'll start it right back up until and show you that this the sight tube here, the level, when I get some fluid in there, and then I'll tell you how many gallons I have in it. Okay? Okay, I finished putting that 5 gallons of hydraulic oil in the system, and I checked the sight tube, and there was still nothing showing in the sight tube. So I got the other 5-gallon bucket and I put a full gallon in here, and I put a quart in and I still didn't see anything, and then I put about a half gallon in, another half gallon, to bring this down to about a quart, and I watched it and you could see that sight tube filling up. So I have 5 3/4 gallons in here, and let me see if I can get closer to that and show that. And I actually saw the fluid raise in the window, so you can see right there it's half full. But I know that I need to start the engine and let the fluid, you know, work its way around the system. So right now I have 5 3/4 gallons, 5 gallons and 3 quarts. And the oil that I got out of it was 6 1/4, so that's another half gallon that I need to put in probably. So, and I think I should mention, when I first started, ever since I had the tractor, that fluid in that window has been right at the very top. So I'm going to go ahead and start the tractor and warm it up, and then I'm going to check that window again. Right now it estimated it's right at half. So I'm going to start it up and warm it up for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then turn the camera back on and we'll see where we're at. Okay, I started it up and I ran it for probably not even 10 seconds, and that the level went down immediately in that window there. So I shut it off and I put the rest of that gallon in there. So there's 6 gallons total in it now, and the level went right back up to the top of the window again. Get in there, right to the top of the window. So I think it's probably still going to take another quart right there, and that'll be the 6 1/4 gallons that I took out of it. And I guess I could put this in here right now, but the manual says, you know, fill it up until you see it in the window and start it up and then let her go down. So I'll do it one more time. I'll start it up. If that goes down immediately, which I think it's going to, I'll shut it down and put that last quart in. Okay? Okay, I've got all the fluid in. I ended up putting 6 1/4 gallons in the system, so that was exactly what I took out. And I've got it warming up here. It's been warming up for about 10 minutes. And I'm going to show you the level in the sight window real soon. Before I shut it off, I wanted to ask you guys out there something. Under this shroud, there's something rattling in there. It's probably like a cotter pin or something. I tried to take this shroud off, but I couldn't. All because of this right here. I think it's a pressure fit. And I was wondering if anyone knew how to take that off. I don't know if it's glued on there or what, but I didn't want to really force it. But I want to be able to take this shroud off because there's something in there rattling that's driving me nuts. And I'll lift up on here on the stick and you'll hear it stop. It's that rattling right there. So it's probably just a simple cotter pin under there. But I'm going to shut the tractor off right now. If someone knows how to get that off, maybe leave me a comment. I appreciate that. So I took out 6 1/4 gallons and I put back in 6 1/4. And I'm going to get the light here and show you. You can see that sight tube. It's right to the top end of that sight tube. Let me get the light in there too. Right there, you can barely see the top of that bubble. So we're all set on the transmission oil. So I did check underneath here, and there's no leaks. at the filters or any of the drain plugs. 4 drain plugs and 2 filters. And the fill cap's back on. We have to tighten it. So the fill cap's back on. So that system should be done. So in summary, to look at this, the manual here, and look at these notes that I wrote. So it says it takes 7.5 gallons, that system. So that's probably the dry volume. So we took out 6 1/4, so that's another 1.25 gallons that's in the system, in the cylinders and stuff. So that makes sense. And then, so I guess the big thing was there were 2 filters, not one like the manual says, and there were 4 spots where I needed to drain this. Now maybe the manual is just telling you those 2 main spots, and it's not concerned with the back 2 spots, the very lowest end at those I'm not sure what it's called, but the axle gears, the drive gears, I guess. So there's 4 drain plugs and 2 filters, and then 6 1/4 gallons of hydraulic fluid. So that'll do it on the part 2 of the first 50-hour engine and filter or oil and filter change. And it's getting kind of late tonight. I'm gonna quit for the night, and then in the morning I'm gonna go ahead and do the front axle oil change. So for now, that'll do it for the part 2 of the transmission oil change, okay?